And with that being said, what is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned into another special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and with me today, I have a very special woman who's on a mission to make a difference. And that's what it's all about here on the HFWB podcast series. We have the movers and the shakers and wonderful community leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, all that and then some, just trying to make a difference. And the person who I'm about to bring on is currently no different. I mean, with her background here in Nueces County and everything, just earning her Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. And fun fact about the person who I'm about to bring on, we actually discussed this before we went live. She's also a tennis star in her own right on her spare time, and we'll learn more about that here in a moment. She, of course, graduated from St. Mary's Law School in San Antonio. She's a practicing attorney here in Nueces County for the last 12 years. Her focus is basically just representing those accused of crimes at the state and the federal level, as well as individuals facing deportation from the U.S. or those seeking to remain in the U.S. lawfully and seeking a path to citizenship. Boy, we need that more than ever. But to summarize the person who I'm about to bring on, she believes in a lot of things, but mainly liberty, economic prosperity, and preserving American values and traditions. God, we need that more than ever in this country in 2024 and beyond. But with that being said, if you don't know who I'm talking about by now, please welcome Miss Laura Allison Ramos to the HFWB podcast series. Laura, how's it going on this wonderful Thursday morning?
Good morning. It's going good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for just making time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're constantly on the move, constantly on the go. And as we were talking before we went live, you were telling me about your experience just working your way through, of course, growing up here in Nueces County. And then, of course, basically you've been in and out of Nueces County. You've been an experienced practicing attorney for the last 12 years and stuff. But just for the people who are listening to the HFWB podcast series and wants to know you more as an individual, as a woman, as a person, how would you best describe that to those who are currently listening?
Well, I'm a hard worker. I like to get a job done. And I think tennis kind of goes hand in hand with that. I am big into health and wellness. My sister is actually, she works for AgriLife. And so she teaches classes on fitness and nutrition.
I love it.
Members of San Antonio, the San Antonio community. And so I am active and hardworking. I have two young children. One is 9 and one is 5. And so when I'm not working in the courtroom, I'm at home working with them.
Being a mom, as you should.
And they are both into basketball and football. So
I love it. I grew up playing basketball myself and all that, so I can definitely relate to that without a doubt.
Yes, and my son really loves football. He doesn't play, but he's into it. He knows all the stats. He's obsessed with football.
I love it. And kind of just talk about a little bit about how you got into just your overall career as a practicing attorney, and just what drew you as far as just studying law and just trying to make a difference within the law world, the law field, I should say.
So I was fortunate that I had members of my family were in the legal community. So my aunt is Judge Hassett. She's the retiring judge, and it's her seat that I'm trying to fill for the 28th District Court. And so I was fortunate to have that. My uncle was also the county judge, her husband. And so as a young child, when I was around 10 years old, I was introduced to many lawyers in the community as well as judges. And so that got me interested into the legal field. I interned for some law firms. I enjoyed it. And I thought I could also join them and make a difference. And I studied criminal justice with a focus on the court system. And so I've been interested in recidivism and, making communities safer. And it's been my ultimate goal to be judge. So
I love it because it's like you alluded to it. It's kind of runs in your DNA to a certain degree. The whole legal system and the court system and everything, like you just alluded to, meeting all these different lawyers and judges just to kind of get a feel of what they go through. Now, fast forward, you're over here trying to keep the family tradition going, picking up where your aunt is currently leaving off as far as her seat and everything. What do you feel like as far as your overall view of the current court system on how it's structured? And do you feel like there's room for improvement to where it could even get better to where we can continue to make a difference in the community?
I feel that with the current structure and the way that our nation is, there is room for improvement.
Mhm.
There needs to be fairness and equality. There needs to be it needs to be a place where everyone feels welcome. For example, victims, defendants. Usually, when you're going to court, it's not a pleasant circumstance for the
No, it
majority.
isn't. It's very uncomfortable and sometimes a little very awkward at times.
Right. And I feel that being more open, is important. Access to justice is important. Um, that would be my focus, is to maintain the fairness and the integrity of the district court as it is. I know my aunt has done a good job. I have never been able to practice in her court because she recuses herself.
Mhm.
But I would like for people to feel welcome, feel at ease when they come to court, and know that their needs are going to be addressed fairly and with equality. Yes.
No, that's wonderful. It really is. And based on all your years of experience practicing as just like an attorney within itself, is there like a particular moment where you had a client, so to speak, to where they impacted you so much to a certain degree to where it's like, okay, now I understand my reasoning and my calling for why I'm doing this in the first place? Is there a particular client or a case that you had in the past to where it like really just cemented your overall legacy just as you being a practicing attorney and just really attorney, excuse me, and just really wanting to make a difference within the legal system?
So one thing about the legal system, it is like the scales of justice, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the facts weigh in your favor, and sometimes they don't. Um, what drives me is, and as a tennis player also, is the win. You want to win for your client. You want your
Mm.
client to be found not guilty, and when they're found not guilty, it's a great high that you feel. And also, like when a client's facing deportation after being here for many years and having family here in the United States, and then they get the order from the judge that they get to remain in the United States. That's another great high. And so I seek that, but also I've experienced the lows where my clients don't get what I feel that they deserve, and so it's basically like a balancing system, and that's kind of what drives me. And as a judge, I'm going to sit on the other side and kind of weigh the factors and make decisions. And so I'm looking forward to that if elected.
And speaking of that in its entirety, you are currently running for the 28th district judge and everything. And for those who are currently listening, as far as just why should I vote for you for the judge position, and what are you going to do that makes a difference that anyone else has done in the past and everything? What would be your overall message, of course, on why you decided to start the campaign first and foremost, and what you plan on bringing to the table, as you alluded to, if you are elected?
So I am a conservative. So God, faith, and family is what drives me. Also,
Mm.
the fact that I have the courtroom experience, and I've been in the courtroom. The 28th District Court is a court of original jurisdiction. So about 70% of cases are criminal law cases. My opponent does not have that experience. He alludes to me being inexperienced and that my age, and I haven't been, I guess, a business owner as long as he has. He's a business owner, but being a business owner is something that's not required as a judge. You need legal experience, you need courtroom experience, and that's what I have, and that's what I bring to the table.
And yeah, experience is the best teacher. And I feel like with everything that you are currently doing, I feel like That position, honestly, Laura, is kind of just meant for you because it's like we were just talking about earlier. It literally runs in your family. It's like it's your destiny, and it's like it's your calling overall just to get into that position and everything. Kind of for those who are like wondering like how it is to be in that position as far as just starting your own campaign just to get up to that track. For those who are listening, like how would you best describe the overall campaign scene leading up to the election cycle, which I believe is in March the 5th, if I'm not mistaken correctly?
That
Like
is
kind of
correct.
describe like the ups and the downs as far as just going from a lawyer like you are experienced, but making that transition now from lawyer to judge. What would you feel like is the difference between the two in your eyes as far as lawyer, judge?
That is correct. And early voting is actually next week on Tuesday. So I
It
can't,
is.
I can't assume the seat unless I'm voted in. And so
Uh-huh.
it's a lot of politics. And I've never really been a politician, although my aunt and uncle are. Like I've really not been involved in politics. And the campaign process has been about meeting people, which I've enjoyed, and joining people that have been involved in the community and in politics. So that's been one thing that's very different. I've been invited to these speaking opportunities. I've also been invited to forums where I'm allowed to introduce myself and then ask questions. You know, like the questions you've just asked me, and so it's more of speaking, public engagement. The judges are elected officials, so we can't we don't just get handed the bench. Like we have to be voted in, and
Yeah.
uh, it's very important that people know and they they do vote, participate in this process. A lot of people don't vote in the primaries, and that is something that I feel that should be talked about. It's important to go to the primaries. It's important to research your candidates, know who has the experience, and make an educated decision.
I love it. I love it. And for anybody, Laura, who wants to like, who's kind of pondering the idea of wanting to go to law school, wanting to study the legal system, the court system, to try to make a difference and just build up that experience, kind of like how you've been doing the last 12 years. And so, what would you tell that aspiring, say, for instance, student who just entered law school, who's having their doubts, their confusions about it, trying to figure things out, get their own foundation established? What would be three key pieces of advice you will tell that aspiring law student looking to become a lawyer and maybe even becoming a judge?
I'd say go do it. I'd say volunteer. Um, while I was in law school, there are many law firms that need the help. So I would tell them go look for attorneys that need help and offer your volunteer your time so you can see what goes on. And many attorneys would be open to that. They always need extra help, in the filing room, and get your hands on, go to the courtroom, listen, participate. And if you're open to politics, you want to be a judge, start early. That's one thing that I wish I would have done. I wish I would have been more involved in politics early on, even as an attorney. So I would do that, get involved, volunteer, and work hard, and know that you can do it.
Yeah, no, know that you can do it and just put the work in and just continue to just study. And as you alluded to, get involved into the process earlier as far as the politics side of things, and just really just engagement within the community and building those relationships. Because I'm a firm believer of you always have to have a great relationship with everybody you come across, and you never want to treat anybody like poorly or anything like that, because I look at it as you never know when you may need that person at some point down the road for a favor. That's one thing. One thing my mom always taught me growing up, and ironically enough, today is my mom's birthday. She turned 61 years old as of today. So happy birthday to my mom, without a doubt, with it being February 15th and stuff today, for those who are listening to this episode on a later notice. But overall, she taught me the importance of just being neutral, playing the role of Switzerland, because that's you gotta have these great relationships with everybody, because again, you never know when you're gonna need them for something or vice versa. So I love your message in regards to that. But We're actually at the point now, Laura, where like I mentioned, we're going to ask you a list of questions to where I ask everybody who comes onto the podcast, basically just to give them a chance to know you a little bit more and give you a chance to relate to you and all that wonderful stuff. So my first question is simple, Laura. What is the first thing you do or think of every single day that you wake up?
I give thanks to God that I've woken up alive, and before I hit the ground, I say thank you. So gratitude is the first thing I do when I wake up.
As you should, as you should. And I'm the very exact same way. I believe you have to be grateful for the big things, the small things, and everything in between before you hit the ground running. So that's really great that you definitely practice gratitude. And I encourage everybody who's listening to this episode of the HFWB podcast series, practice gratitude whenever you start off your day. It makes a big difference. I can assure you that. My next question is simple. When it comes to the HFWB podcast series, of course, named after my brand and company, Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, it's really about health, wealth, and knowledge of self, right? So they say health is wealth. You can't have one without the other. There are two sides of the coin. In your personal definition, in your eyes, of course, Laura, what does health and wealth mean to you?
So I think wealth is being able to do what you want to do. So like financial freedom, in other words, being able to take a trip when you want to take the trip, being able to buy the gift when you need to buy the gift. Health, same thing, being able to walk without pain, being able to enjoy your day, as far as, emotionally and mentally and as well as physically, to your well-being, in other words.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, generational health is just finding ways to just continuing just to build yourself up from the movement, breathing, thinking, nutrition, hydration, sleep aspect, and just balancing out the yin and the yang factor, the masculine and the feminine energies that leads to, of course, again, the generational wealth aspect. Because I always tell people this all the time, Laura, we're so focused on our careers and trying to establish safety and security all the time. Do you ever stop and think about your health for a moment? Because without your health, you can't even achieve all the other things you're trying to achieve anyways. So that's a kind of a great way to look at it. It really is. When you think of the word community, Laura, what is the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Gathering, like an open space where people can share ideas. That's what comes to mind.
No, and it's important because it's kind of like what you're already doing within the campaign trail. You're gathering people around to kind of share those ideas, those beliefs, those values and differences to where we can come together and unite within the community to where we can stand strong. And I feel like you're well on track to do that without a doubt. Overall, Laura, we're going to make a little bit of a transition. We're going to do something I like to call either or, where I'll ask you which one you would choose out of one or the other. My first one is this, and this should be a good one. Would you rather choose loyalty or respect?
Loyalty.
I love it. Would you rather live in space or live in the ocean?
The ocean.
Would you rather be famous and poor or anonymous and rich?
That's a tough one. Probably anonymous and rich.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Would you rather have unlimited free meals at your favorite restaurant or unlimited first class tickets?
Unlimited first class tickets.
Would you rather dance to every song or sing to every song?
Sing to every song.
Got it. Now picture this scenario I'm about to paint for you, Laura. You're on an island, deserted island, and you're trapped on that island, but you had the option to listen to 5 of your favorite music artists. It doesn't matter what genre it is. It could be their whole entire catalog of music. Who would those 5 music artists be? As far as within your overall playlist and everything, like who would be your favorite go-to 5 artists you would listen to on that deserted island?
So The Weeknd, Sam Smith, Lady Gaga, and journey, I think.
Okay. That's 4 right now. You got
Oh,
one
more. I'm sorry.
You're good. It's not a bad playlist.
Madonna.
I like that. A little bit of pop, a little bit of R&B will feel good, and at the same time will reflect on life. Someone will come take you off of that deserted island once they hear all the wonderful music within that, and you'll be happily on your way, which, again, nothing wrong with that at all. What is your favorite go-to meal?
Probably hot wings.
There's nothing wrong with that. I love me some hot wings myself. There's nothing wrong with that, especially with a nice cold, refreshing drink next to it. Boom, we're in motion on that. Now, where is the favorite place that you have traveled to so far, and where is a place you haven't traveled to yet that you would like to travel to?
That's a tough one. So my favorite place has been Alaska. We took a cruise, and my fiance proposed to me, so that it was special. And Alaska was really beautiful. As far as where I would like to go, I've never made it to Rome. I'd love to visit Rome.
That is very, very interesting. There's so much history within Rome within itself. It's like that is motivating me enough to where it's like, gotta get you a passport, gotta go overseas. I'm gonna make that happen in 2024. That's for sure. That is definitely on the bucket list. But overall, Laura, whenever you're not practicing law as an attorney, whenever you're not on the campaign trails you currently on, whenever you're not doing all the things you're doing on a regular basis, what are some of your favorite hobbies that you like to do that many people may not know you like to do? I know you mentioned that you like playing tennis and stuff, but is there something else as far as like a hobby you like to do that many people may not know you like to do?
So I like to do body pump. I also have a sauna, and I'm fortunate to have a home gym where I have a sauna. So I like to relax in my sauna for at least 30 minutes a day. I do like to travel, and my fiance and I we like to go to like Louisiana, Houston, Dallas, like travel around Texas when we can.
I love it. Nothing wrong with taking a road trip here and there, because sometimes the open road helps you think. It helps you reflect on life at times when you need to, and it's just great just being on the road, just traveling and stuff like that. I can definitely relate to that, especially whenever I take trips to Houston and take trips to like even just San Antonio, just being on the open road. Just it's something about that. It gives you that peace of mind, and it allows you to think and again just reflect and just again practice that gratitude yet again. But overall, Laura, my last question is simple. If you had the opportunity, right, to go back in time and talk to yourself, say about 10 years ago, so to speak, what would you tell yourself? And at the same time, where do you see yourself based on the current projection of your path? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
I'd probably tell myself to be more confident and outgoing and outspoken. I am, although I'm an attorney, I do like to speak out for my clients, and I do that. However, speaking out for myself has been something that I have not had to do until that I started this whole campaign. So I would tell myself to be more assertive, more outspoken, and work on public speaking and these I wish I would have been involved in politics at a younger age
Right.
to get me to where I need to be.
Okay. And based on the path that you're currently going on, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Hopefully as a judge. It's a 4-year term. We have to be reelected after the 4 years. My aunt was on the bench for 27 years before retiring, and so I would hope to be, I'd have the longevity on the court.
I have a good feeling. I have a good feeling, Laura, that's exactly going to be the case, because like we were just talking about, I mean, it's literally in your DNA and in your blood to do this. It's like God is basically setting up the path. Like, here you go, Laura. This is something that I know that runs in your family. It's up to you. Now go out there and go get it. And honestly, I can see that, and I can see you doing a really great job, because it's usually, I could tell that you're a little bit soft-spoken because I'm soft-spoken myself, but whenever it's time to show that assertiveness, I have a feeling it comes out in ways to where we're like, whoa, don't mess with her, but in a good way, because you're fighting for what's right and fighting to make a difference to just better the community and give people the rights that they deserve. And I feel like you're on the right path to doing that, Laura. But speaking of that, where can people find you as far as like social media and stuff like that? Where can people go and vote for you as far as to put you in that position? That way you could continue the family tradition. Now's the time to let it be known, Laura. It's all you.
Thank you. So yes, so I'm on the Republican primary ballot. I'm in spot number 1. So if you're voting in the Republican primary, look for my name, Laura Allison Ramos. Also, my website is electlauraAllisonRamos.com, or you can look up Laura Allison Ramos, add me as a friend. I started out with maybe 20 followers, and right now I'm up to 400. So I thank everyone that has been following my campaign and joining me. And it's been really great to meet people, to speak with them. It was a pleasure to meet you also. And I wish you the best of luck with your podcast. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, of course. It's just utilizing the power of the vote to make a difference, because people always like want change within the community. And it's like, you just got to go out there and get involved. You got to get involved with these organizations, sit on the boards of these organizations to really make things move, to shake up the community. And as far as and from a political standpoint, if you really want to make a difference, you need to tell people, hey, get out there and vote, because that's the only way your voice is going to be heard. I mean, that's always been the case ever since, government was established. I don't know, maybe in back in the 1700s, if I'm not mistaken correctly. I don't think that hasn't changed too much. It's just utilizing the power of the vote. So if you want to take anything out of listening to this episode of the HFWB podcast series, utilize the power of the vote, because that's the only way your voice is going to get heard. And that's the only way you're going to make a difference at the end of the day. Laura, thank you so much. And I really mean it. Thank you so much as far as just making time out of your busy schedule just to be a part of the HFWB podcast series and simply bless us with an appearance. Thank you so much yet again. And best of luck and best wishes to the overall campaign. My intuition is telling me that you're going to be just fine, and you're already on the right track from what I could tell.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me, and thank you again.
No, of course. And for everybody who's listening to this episode of the HFWB podcast series, this is your host, Clifton Pope. And with me, I encourage y'all to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed like always. And until next time, peace and love. And also, shout out to the newest sponsor of the HFWB podcast series, Go and Feel Great. So overall, go and feel great, Laura, as I will continue to do the same. Until next time, peace and love, y'all.
Peace and love.